Good morning and welcome to 30 Ways 30 Days. I'm Susie Jacobs and it is 11:07, which means you and we get to spend 9 minutes together unpacking some of the assumptions that can undermine your confidence and really play havoc with your best laid plans. As you can see, I've returned from the grand adventure and I'm coming to you from Sydney City, just down the road from where I'm based, in a place called Darlinghurst. We're at Taylor Square, very busy part of the world, a complete contrast to where I've spent the last 9 days. So, while we wait for a few more people to join us and join in the conversation, just to remind you, we are day 25 of 30 Ways 30 Days. And today is about why won't you listen to me? The frustration of not being heard. I think we've all experienced that. Day 25, the frustration of not being heard. Why won't you listen to me? But before we go there, I just want to take a breather in a moment to say and to acknowledge what an incredible time we had going round and exploring outback New South Wales, everywhere from Murrurundi, Tamworth, Lightning Ridge, Menindee, Kintanga National Park, Mungo National Park, Orange. And I'll post some photos on my on my business page so you can see where I've been. It was just extraordinary. If you get an opportunity to go out and explore New South Wales, highly recommend it. Amazing. Also, if you've got adventures of a different kind, adventures in business, in career, in relationships, and you're sitting there today thinking, yeah, I'm just not quite prepared enough. I will be soon. If you've got that feeling, can I just say you're in the perfect place? Because we can never know everything we need to know about an adventure and a project until we actually embark on the adventure. Hello, Siobhan. Hello, Tom. Lovely to see you. Good morning. We're day 25. We're talking about the frustration of why won't you listen to me? I'd love to give me a wave, a thumbs up, a juicy heart. Let me know you're out there. Hi, Tom. Good morning. Lovely to see you again. I'm in at Taylor Square in Darlinghurst. I thought the traffic was a great contrast to where I've been over the past 9 days. So, the frustration of why won't you listen to me? So, I remember when my gorgeous, beautiful daughter was just a young, and she's now 20, an extraordinary human being. But when she was young, we used to have stand-up stoushes. Like, we used to have the most fierce fights. And we'd be fighting and arguing and yelling at each other until we get to a point that what we were fighting over seemed so insignificant, so small. We'd just look at each other and sort of smile, and then smile some more, and then laugh and hug each other, and it was over. Because we got to this point that we were arguing about something really small and insignificant. But here's the thing, neither of us were being heard. And it's never about the thing that we're arguing about. It's actually about our own communication. So if you're feeling frustrated about not being heard, here's what you want to know. If something doesn't change, there's more to be told. And often behind those small things are actually heartfelt fears, concerns, worries, desires, wants, needs that are not being met. And there's a fear about expressing them. Now, I don't know if you've noticed over the past 25 days, for each topic, we come back to some fundamental elements. There are 7 of them, 7 elements that go into how we operate, how we relate, how we communicate. And when you go back to those and you learn to master them, you find the answers to every situation, every challenge that you have along the way. It's actually not, it's not easy. But it's simple. The elements are there, but we have to do the work. So when we get frustrated and where our energy goes out there, we get frustrated because that person isn't hearing us, isn't listening to us, it's time to reverse it and to look within and ask ourselves, what is it that I'm actually feeling? What is it that I'm actually fighting for? What is it that I would love to say if I just had the tools, the communication, the ability, the true understanding of myself to be able to express it? The frustration is an internal frustration. And again, as you've heard me say over the past 25 days, we weren't taught this stuff. Do not hold it against yourself that you don't know how to do this. There is nothing wrong, but there is some really freaking valuable stuff to learn. Think about yoga. Yoga is not a practice that is about learning more and different, and it gets far more complex and more complicated every time you go, and it's not about that. It's about mastering a practice. There are core elements to yoga, which when you master them, it becomes innate. It becomes a way of life. And how you operate as a human being, how you relate, how you communicate is a practice. There's no secret source to it. It's a practice. And the only difference between yoga and the stuff that we're doing here at Activator Academy is that in the practice, you will find elements and gold nuggets and stuff which is unique to you that no one else can find except you. No one else will be able to tell you that stuff except you. Hello, Bronte. Good morning. Here I am at Taylor Square. Does that make sense? Can you give me a thumbs up if that makes sense? So you go out there, you practice the tools, and in practicing the tools, it's a process, just like yoga is. And as you get more masterful at the practice, the easier it is for you to identify your own blocks and frustrations. It's not about an outcome, it is about the process. And it's a process that you walk through and develop through life that now enables you to live your highest version of self with the greatest freedom that you possibly can, because you're equipped to understand how you operate and how to tweak the 7 elements of how you operate, so that if something isn't working, you can understand it and train yourself to think and work differently in that element. Give me a thumbs up if you're watching and that makes sense. So while you're doing that, let's go back to the frustration of you're not listening to me. Behind it are beliefs, values, judgments, stories that you've built up as evidence over the course of your life. And the person you're talking to, they've got their filters, beliefs, judgments, dramas. And the two of you are talking, and I've got to get through my filters and beliefs and values and judgment, and they've got to get through their filters, beliefs, values and judgments. And until we take responsibility for our own, then we can truly communicate. Then we learn to be vulnerable and open and understand how it is we operate, so we can communicate fully. And when we learn to communicate fully and wholeheartedly and openly, without fear of rejection or being dismissed, when we can do that, we stop trying to withhold our communication and our love and our connection with people, then we have the ability to truly relate and to communicate. And the frustration disappears. So I'm going to let you in on a secret. While we were out there driving this magnificent country for 9 days, Hans and I had a fight about shoes. My shoes, right? A fight about shoes. And it reminded me of when I used to fight with my daughter about the most insignificant stuff. And I worked through my process, and I realized that what I was saying in that argument, I was not being in full communication. It's the same thing about the shoes. What wasn't I saying? What fears was I not communicating? What was I withholding from that communication that resulted in us having a conversation and a fight about shoes? Now, no one can get to the bottom of that. No one can unpack that except me. And because I have the toolbox, I just delve into my toolbox and go through the process and find out what I was really trying to say. What did I really want to communicate? And that's where the seat of power and control is. We can never change anyone else. All we can do is adapt the way that we look at the world, the way we construct the world. And in doing so, release ourselves to show up fully expressed and confident and aware, so we can have a conversation that is meaningful to both ourselves and the other person. So filters, beliefs, drama, judgment, language, these are some of the elements that go into how we operate as a human being. When we master those, we can have silly arguments about shoes or fights with our kids, but we can always go back within, go through the process, unpack what's really going on for ourselves, acknowledge that, and then re-engage with the other person in a way where we can be fully expressed and fully in communication about what's going on. How does that sound? It's a process. I can only say to you it is the most extraordinary process, and one that I have developed and mastered over the past 15 years, and share with you for a desire for each person who has a growth mindset, who is willing to think differently, to have the opportunity to absolutely engage with people, the ones closest to you, the ones dearest to you, the ones that are most meaningful in your life, in a way that you are congruent and aligned with your highest self, and allow them and you to show up as your best selves. That's it. Shoes. Thanks for the shoes. Yes, I do have a great collection of shoes as well, but the argument wasn't about the shoes. Yeah, it was around fears and concerns. But we don't, unless we can unpack those fears and concerns for ourselves, own them, and engage responsibly, we never get past the shoes. So, on that note, it is kind of lovely bit to be back in the city, although, man, we had a great time out back New South Wales, extraordinary part of the world. But it is always great to be here with you. It is day 25, and we're talking about the frustrations that come with not being heard. And so today, as you go through your day, if you've got any of those frustrations, perhaps go back and start at day 1 of 30 Ways, 30 Days. Pick out a couple of the episodes, 9 minutes each, and see if you can identify your filters, beliefs, judgments, your language, your drama, and be responsible for that. Maybe you'll go to the EQ SWOT at susiejacobs.com and have a look and get a personalised assessment to see, well, what areas do you need to develop in order to live more freely, more congruently, more aligned? And if you want to jump in with both feet, of course, we've got our training programs. The next ones start, in fact, next week. You can put in an expression of interest on our website as well, the contact page. We'll put all the links in the feed below. So that is day 25, and it is great to be with you as always. I look forward to seeing you at 11:07 tomorrow morning. If you've missed this one or you want to share with people in your life who you love, there's a watch party at 9:07 this evening, 7:07 tomorrow morning, and I'll see you back here at 11:07 tomorrow. Bye for now.